Hey, what's up, Internet? It's Nikki G, and I wanted to come on here. I did it a little differently, so instead of me being on camera, I decided to doodle because I haven't really been in the mood to actually record myself, but I wanted to actually make a video. So the best thing I wanted to do was do a doodle, and also I've been watching Miss Marvel, so I also got the inspiration from her. If you've seen the show, the first episode, the introduction, I'm like, I want to do that. So I'm gonna do the mid-year freak out tag. This is the best and the worst books I read this year. I don't want to really say worst because they're not all bad. I just didn't enjoy them. So I hope you enjoy it and my little creativity here. Hopefully I'll start doing more videos because now I don't have to put my face on the camera, I guess. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so the first question is best book you've read so far. So this was a little hard, but I decided to do my favorite trilogy that I've been reading since the beginning of this year. Granted, it's not a trilogy anymore since there's 5 books in the series, but the other 2 haven't come out yet. Well, since I started recording this, they haven't come out yet. So that is Bro and the Beast by Elsie Davis. I love this story so much. It's just so funny. If you're a fan of TJ Klune, I highly recommend you guys reading this because it has the sense of humor. It's just really heartfelt and it's just funny. It's like a rom-com if you're into those kind of things. So what it's about, it's basically this frat boy named Brad, and he gets into a car accident and he gets sucked into his twin brother's favorite corny shifter romance novel, and he realizes the real game is just beginning because in this world, since they're shifters, he finds out he's an omega and he's made it to the alpha. And it's just this really funny situation because he's like, "You're delicate." And he goes, "The hell I am." He's a frat boy. He basically drinks beer and does keg push ups or whatever they're called. And it's just funny to see this world and then them underestimating him. And it's just, I just love the series so much. It makes me laugh. There are a lot of sad parts into it just because there's certain things about family that just gets me every single time. So if you do end up reading this series, let me know and let me know what you think. Okay, so second question is best sequel you've read so far. So once again, I didn't read a lot of sequels. So the one that I went for is technically not a sequel whatsoever. It's actually the 4th book in the series, and it's the Godbearer series by L.C. Davis. Again, because like I said, I'm obsessed. But this one, I was losing my mind. So this one came out in May, and I could not wait. I literally was so excited when this dropped, and I'm so excited because we get introduced to Hades in this one. So essentially the story of this one is about a guy who ends up being sacrificed for a cult because he's a virgin. And so yeah, his friends are dicks. He says it, not me. And so he ends up getting possessed by a demigod who is technically a vampire demon kind of thing. And so that wasn't supposed to happen, obviously. It was supposed to go into someone else's body, this god, but ends up going into his, and shit kind of hits the fan. And since every supernatural being wants what he's packing, he gets hunted down, and the cult actually just tries to become friendly with him because obviously they are or were his friends, and it kind of just goes from there. It is very, very smutty if you're into smutty books. Not judging here because I love them so much. So if you do end up reading The Godbearer, let me know what you think of number 4 because I cannot wait for book 5 to know more about Hades. Just the flirtation between the main character and Hades. I am here for it. I want more. I kind of already know how it's going to end, and I know Hades might not be our main love interest, but a girl can dream, man. A girl can dream. Next question is new releases you want to read. So the one that recently came out like I think about 2 weeks ago was The Only One Left by Riley Sager, and I just recently picked it up because payday. So I'm so excited to read this so much. It's giving me Lizzie Borden vibes. And also Stephen King's book, Dolores Claiborne. If you've ever read that, highly recommend, because this is what it's giving me. So essentially, this follows a 17-year-old who is accused of murdering her whole family in 1929, and that's kind of insane to think. And also, it's set in on the main coast, so definitely Stephen King vibes, like straight up. So she's never talked about it. She got acquitted, I'm assuming, from those so-called accusations, and so it goes into the future in 1983, which I love because, come on, it's the 80s, and that's like the best time that horror movies became like a thing, especially for slashers. So I am down for this so much because in 1983, our 17-year-old is now an elderly woman and she needs someone to take care of her. And she was a shut-in and she's never left the house that her family was murdered in, which is kind of creepy. So I'm kind of interested to see what the twist is for Riley Sager. And so she ends up actually telling the story to the person who's taking care of her, sort of like Dolores Claiborne, when she ends up confessing the stuff. I'm pretty sure it's her. It could be someone else. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I read the book. So that's what the vibes is giving me, and also like what I'm getting from the synopsis. So I'm so excited. And if you read this book, let me know what you thought. No spoilers, for the love of God. I try so hard not to spoil stuff, but I kind of suck at it. So I'm sorry if I spoiled anything. Okay, next question, please. Most anticipated to still be released in 2023. So I'm so excited for two books that are coming in October, I believe, or maybe August. I think the first one is Stephen King, Holly, and I believe this comes out in August or October. I do not remember. I'm so excited. I have no idea what this is about whatsoever, and I'm gonna keep it like that. This follows one of my favorite characters who's still alive, because if you read Stephen King, he loves to kill off characters, and I love her so much. We were first introduced in the Mr. Mercedes books, or aka the Bill Hodges trilogy, and she also ended up showing up in the outside outsider, yes, I keep thinking it's the Outsiders, like that movie or book. Yeah, whatever, it's not the same. And the second book that I'm really excited for is A Haunting on the Hill, which is supposed to be like a sequel to a Haunting on Hill House. So I'm really excited for that. That is written by Elizabeth Hand. Once again, I don't know what it is about whatsoever. I just know it's supposed to be a continuation of Shelley Jackson's really well-known book that was also turned into a really good Netflix show. Nothing like the book whatsoever, because they changed a lot, but I think they did a good job of it. So I'm excited to read that one as well. Because I did actually read the Holly Jackson. I'm combining the two things now because I'm so excited. So I'm really excited to read the Shirley Jackson like retelling, like what someone else believes what happened after the events. And obviously I'm also excited because Stephen King has another book out, and it is one of my favorite characters, which I'm kind of scared for because he's probably gonna kill her off. Not confirmed, but it sounds like a possibility. So yeah. Next question is biggest disappointment. Straight off, I already know what this is. That is Alpha Asher by Jane Doe. Oh my god, this book story, this is all Wattpad, bad grammar, and all that stuff. I got gaslighted by a Instagram book like video thingy, and the story seemed so interesting. Not what I signed up for though. It was not. The advertisement for this got me. Usually advertisements don't get me, but recently the algorithm for my Instagram has been mainly books, and it's been getting me with some of these really good, juicy, like romance books, and I've been really interested. But Alpha Asher was like the first one where I'm like, this is lies, this is BS. Until I found out that the video you're watching and then the dialogue that's on the screen are not the same book they're advertising on their link, so I usually have to dig to find that specific book. And usually the video that you're seeing is much, much better than the link that is. So I have learned my lesson, and this is one of them. I did actually like the plot for this. I just could not do the Wattpad, no proofreading, none of that stuff. So I'm like, oh my god, someone help this poor Jane Doe person. Okay, biggest surprise. So this book was a surprise for two reasons, and that book is The Unwanted Marriage by Catherine Muir. I think that's how you pronounce it. So the two reasons this surprised me so much is because, number one, it is actually the third book in a series that I didn't even read the first two, and that is the Windsor series. And this is what happens when you don't put numbers on your book covers, okay? Like, come on. But it was a really good book, even though I started with number 3. I was kind of confused because I was reading through it and there was like a lot of backstory for other characters. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about right now. And then I went on Goodreads and realized it was book 3. But I still finished it. And the reason, number 2, that surprised me is that it was straight. I usually don't read straight like romance. It's usually gay. I don't know why, it's my preference. But this one really surprised me. I love everything about this, and this was one of the Instagram stories that I saw that was advertising for a book, and this was it. So this ended up being so good, and it had all my favorite tropes. It had the whole thing. It was arranged marriage. We had a person who's being married off to a billionaire. This billionaire is a jerk. He doesn't believe in love. And then the person he's marrying, she's very cynical because she believes he's gonna be a douche, abuser, and basically she's gonna be just like this arm candy who doesn't have a voice or brain or anything. Like, she's controlled day to day. And then they're both wrong because, well, what happens when there's arranged marriage? You get very smutty stuff because sex comes first and the love comes after. Well, we hope sometimes. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but this one surprised me a lot. It was really good. I'm gonna definitely read the rest of the series, especially 1 and 2. But that was just my pet peeve that I didn't realize I had, was number your books on the cover of the books. How am I gonna figure this out? It's like Game of Thrones all over again. So next question is new favorite author. This hands down has to be Tilly Walden. I was obsessed with her this beginning of this year. I ended up reading mostly all the books that were currently in my library for her. I love her graphic novels, her design, how she draws. They're just so beautiful. And also her stories are just so out there and so creative that I just couldn't get enough of it. So if you want something whimsical and just really great artwork, highly recommend picking up some of her books. Next question is new fictional crush. So this hands down has to be Mr. Edward Nailbiter Warren. So I ended up reading the whole series of the Nailbiter graphic novels, and I just fell in love with this guy. He is the main guy. He's our serial killer. His whole thing is he is a nail biter. He literally eats his victims' nails, and he chooses you because if you are actually a nail biter, you will be his next victim, and he decides to eat your fingertips because he's like a cannibal or something. But anyways, I don't know why, but I am in love with him, and it's kind of scary because like he's a serial killer, and like I don't know what to do. So if you want to know about my new boo, highly recommend picking up Nailbiter. It is a great graphic novel if you like true crime and like that. It's just like a really cool way how they did it. It's about a town called Buckaroo who actually has like, I think it said 21 serial killers were born in that city, and they ended up doing like mass chaos around the country. Granted, not at the same time like LA back in the day, but it's still good. So highly recommend checking out my lover boy. Next question is new favorite character. This one right here is Erica Slaughter. Holy crap. I had amazing time of year for graphic novels, and Something's Killing the Kids is one of them, and Erica Slaughter is a phenomenal character. I love her building. I like her backstory. She's just badass. She is what I want to be when I grow up. Granted, probably not a drifter from like the 80s, 70s. No, I don't know why I keep believing this graphic novel is set in the 70s or 80s. It's actually in our time period, like right now in the 2000s, because she does have a cell phone, and they have computers. So I don't know. And I highly recommend this. This is really good. It's like a horror mystery, and I can't wait for the next volume to come out. It is coming out this year. I'm so excited. Next question is a book that made you cry. I didn't actually cry, essentially, but the one I would choose is this one, which is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Uh, all I have to say about this is just it hits the feels. Like you really feel for her in this book, and it's just such heavy topics, and I don't know why, but I'm very proud of her for overcoming them and just like what she's done with her life. It's just amazing. And hopefully she writes more because she is a really good writer. I hope she ends up being like a writer for movies or TV or whatever because I think that would be a great career for her. Next question is a book that made you happy. So this has to be my graphic novels and my manga. So first off is graphic novels, which is The Magic Fish, which is a really heartwarming book about fairy tales. Then there's Persephone, Hades' Torment, which is the Greek mythology of how Hades and Persephone became to be. And then On or Off again, which is a BL manga, which I enjoy because it's a misunderstanding. Then there's I Think Her Son Is Gay, which is so cute because it follows the mom's point of view where she believes her son is gay, but just is always there for him and waiting to see if he ever comes out to her that she will be accepting. And there is Cherry Magic, 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. And I really, really want to say Harry after that, but it's not. And that one is basically about a young man who basically doesn't understand relationships, and so he's finally 30 and he hasn't had a serious relationship, and now he can hear other people speak. So he's not like a full-on wizard like Harry Potter, but he's like full-on mind reader, and he ends up finding out that his boss, who doesn't even work in his department, had like a major crush on him, and it's just their day-to-day interactions, and it's so cute and funny because there's certain parts where he says something and then his boss has like this really like raunchy thing he wants to do to him, but his response is always something really like not creepy, and it's just so cute. Highly recommend all these books if you are in a reading slump, because I was in a really big reading slump and I ended up reading these, and these made me happy, and I just decided to start reading more graphic novels and manga because of it. Next question is most beautiful book you've bought. So I have a few of them, so let me show you. Okay, so welcome to my Stephen King collection. And so the 4 books I'm going to show you today are that I am obsessed with that have such pretty covers are actually used books that I found at a used bookstore. And so the first one is The Stand by Stephen King, and this is a first edition uncut book, and it is in wonderful quality. Like, just look at that. That's one of my favorite books, and I love the cover. I just love the design because when this book came out, Star Wars came out, so they wanted to like promote it sort of like Star Wars. So if it looks kind of like Jedi-y, that was the point. And the next one is my favorite book of all time. This is What Started Me with Stephen King, which is Stephen King for Past Midnight. I love this cover so much. I do want the original one, but this is such a beautiful cover, especially since this is a used book. And once again, it's a first edition. And the only thing I'm mad about this cover is the sticker they put on it. Like, how do I get that off? I could not, and I'm too scared to damage my book. And then last but not least is actually 2 books, and that is The Regulators and Desperation. I keep calling Desperado. I don't know why, but I do. And so I love this cover so much. Let me just move my Stephen King real quick. And because they interconnect, and I think it's just so cool. I've been seeing this everywhere for Stephen King lovers, and I finally got it at the used bookstore, and I am just obsessed with it. It's so cool. So Richard Buckman is Stephen King, if you didn't know that. And so these two books are actually the same story except backwards. So the Regulators, you follow the good guy, but in Desperation, you follow the bad guy, and they're the same character. They're just reverse. And so he just had this idea that he couldn't let him go, so he wanted like a back-to-back story, but in a different like timeline. So instead of all the stuff that happened here, we've reversed the good guy to the bad guy, and it is an insane story. I'm gonna be very honest. I have not read this Richard Bachman one yet. I have read Desperation, and I saw the movie, and so I can't wait. And but this is my pride and joy, and I'm gonna put my Stephen King back here because I'm crazy. Last but not least, what do you want to read before 2023 ends? Okay, so here is my BL collection slash graphic novels because there are a few like over here, my Lore Olympus ones. Obviously they're not BL stuff. So this right here is my collection of all my BLs that I have collected over the past 2 years and some. And so I kind of always put the goal that I want to finish as many as I can within a year. If I finish all of them, that is great. If I don't, no big deal. I don't, try not to put so much pressure on these because I really enjoy them, and there's only one time you can read something for the first time, you know? And to know how crazy I am, these two shelves right here are my newest mangas that I have bought in the last like 2 months. Not even 6 months, the last 2 months right here. And I have all these other mangas that I probably haven't finished the series to or have not actually finished because I start mangas and then I don't actually finish them. So I kind of need to work on that. So that is what I want to try to achieve by the end of this year. Okay, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. And let me know if you end up rating any of these books or you did. I would like to know your thoughts. I still can't believe it's currently July now. That is insane. So yeah, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.